Hello, good morning children. How are you all? Fine, let's go to the next topic. So what is the next topic? Now the living world topic is the diversity in the living world part 2. Very important topic. Now what do we learn in this now? What is diversity? Diversity is something now, can you just imagine, I want you to make a list of animals and plants or all the living things that you find around you. Can you make a list? Yes, you can make. You can make list of animals or plants which are big enough for you to see. But there are so many animals and plants which are very, very, very small, microscopic. And there are huge animals and huge plants also. So there is such a difference between plants, animals. In animals again you find differences. In plants you find a lot of differences. There is a whole lot of so many different species. Nearly 1.7 millions of species are discovered. But there are so many other living beings which we are yet to discover. So that is why we call it is a diversity, the living world. We have so much of differences that we need to. Okay. Now what is that you find? On what basis? Now suppose you want to study living beings now. We all want to study about the living beings. Now we are all interested in that now. How do we want to study? Can we start studying one day one animal like say dog, or a plant like jasmine or rose, or can you start with an ant or something like that? Is it possible like that? It will be such an hodgepodge kind of study now. It is not possible to study the living beings taking one by one. It's not correct. So it should be done in a very systematic way. There are many ways of doing this now. Actually, now we have, according to the very first, the scientists say, Linnaeus. Linnaeus was the first one who classified all the living beings into plants and animals. Enough. Anyway, we have only plants and animals that we see around us. So do you think only plants and animals are there? There are no other living beings which may be different from plants and animals? There are huge differences among the plants, among the animals. Now, since Linnaeus, in the beginning, he classified all the living beings into plants and animals. Now, this classification, suppose you have a say a collection of say 10,000 books, all categories of books. There may be novel, there may be in novels also you have detective novels, you have romantic novels, or you may have science related texts, or you may have some history related, or you may have some poems, and so many things which are all you have collected in your lifetime now. Now say, suppose you dump all the books in a big huge room, and tomorrow if somebody comes to you and asks you, I want such and such a book now. Now, can you just give it to him? It may take hours together to find out the particular book that person wants. Is it possible to do every time like this now? So what do we do? In order to arrange in a library, what do they do? Usually you have seen, you all have used the libraries, you have seen the libraries. Tell me, what do they do? They have lot of shelves now. And each shelf has got a particular set of books related to particular topic. It can be history related, it can be geography related, it can be science related. Now if anyone wants, now suppose even author related, this can be done in different ways. So whenever you want a book, then it's very easy for you to go and find out the particular book. Within seconds you can get the book now. So that becomes a very beautiful systematic classification of a library now. Similarly, we want to study about all the living beings now. We cannot simply start with some animal or some plant now. What do? Even though now Linnaeus segregated all the living beings to plants and animals, but just imagine all the text related to studies, you make one shelf, and all the books related to stories, fictions or novels, all this in one. Again it becomes so huge problem to select the particular book that you want. In the same way, this is a very haphazard way of classification. So now this is called two kingdom of classification, that is plant kingdom and animal kingdom. You can say it's plant kingdom and animal kingdom, but this will not serve our purpose. In that way, so many other scientists also wanted to classify these and group them properly. So some of them grouped into 3, that is, some of them classified into 4 groups, and the one person who grouped it into 5 is called, the scientist's name is Whittaker. He grouped all the living beings into 5 kingdoms. Now he took into consideration the microscopic organisms. Now what he did was, he took cells as a basis now. Cells which are, now supposing I take cell. A cell has very important central organelle called the nucleus. Cell with a nucleus and cell without a nucleus. Cell with nucleus and cell without nucleus. What are the names given to this? Yes, cell with nucleus is called eukaryote and cell without nucleus is called prokaryote. So in this he said, okay, we'll have organisms classified in such a way where you have, depending on the kind of cells that I have. One is called the prokaryote and the other is called the eukaryote. Now in this we have again accordingly what he did not take only this much. Okay, we'll start with the 5 kingdom classification done by scientist Whittaker. What did he take now? See, there are 5 kingdoms now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first one is called the Monera, Protista, fungi, plants and animals. On what basis did he make this classification? Cell type. What is a cell type here? Cell type is, in Monera, it is prokaryote. In Monera, it is prokaryote. In case of Protista, it is eukaryote. In fungi, it's again eukaryote. In plants, it is eukaryote. In animals also we have eukaryotes. Okay, this is one criteria. Second one, this is first one. So second one is cell membrane, or you can say cell wall. What is a cell wall made? In Monera, this is the first kingdom, second kingdom, third, fourth and fifth. What is a cell made of now here? A cell wall made of. It has cell wall which has no cellulose. It has a cell wall but no cellulose. Some other different material is present in this. In Protista, we have now what was I telling? The cell wall is not present in this, but even if it is there, it has no cellulose, unlike the higher plants now. And in case of Protista, cell wall is there but not made of, is present but not made of cellulose. Fungi, we have cell wall in certain fungi, but it is made of chitin, a material called chitin. And in case of plants, there is a regular cell wall made of cellulose. In case of animals, cell wall is absent. So this is how the cell wall is taken into consideration. Now thirdly, we have, I'll have to erase this now. Now, when we take, now according to Whittaker, cell type is taken, then secondly cell wall is taken, next is what is taken is the nuclear membrane. What is a nuclear membrane now? Just now we divided all the, that is classified all the living beings according to the nuclear membrane, whether it is found or not found. So prokaryotes and eukaryotes are, prokaryotes are those with nuclear membrane, eukaryotes are those which have no nuclear membrane. Fourthly, we have organization, body organization. In case of Protista, we don't have any organization. In case of Monera, we don't have any organization. So from where do we find the organization? We find the tissues. In case of fungi, it starts from fungi. It has very well good organization in plants and animals. So all these have certain organization. Fifth is, what is the kind of nutrition. Nutrition means what? The food that the animals take, living beings take. Whether it is, if they prepare, we call photosynthetic or autotrophic. Now called autotrophic. If they are dependent on other beings for their food, we call it as heterotrophic. And if they are dependent on dead and decaying organisms, we call this as saprophytic. Now let us see in Monera what is the kind of nutrition. Some Monera are autotrophic. Even though they have no proper chlorophyll, they have the ability to prepare their own food. So Monera is autotrophic. It also has heterotrophic mode of nutrition plus heterotrophic. That means they are dependent. In case of Protista, even Protista, they have autotrophic and heterotrophic. In case of fungi, all are heterotrophic, or we can say saprophytic. And as you know, all the plants are autotrophic. All the animals are heterotrophic. So I hope you understood this now. So now we'll find once again how this is divided into or classified into number of now coming to taxonomy categories. What is taxonomy? Taxonomy is nothing but identification of living beings, classifying them and naming them also. In taxonomy, we describe how to identify the living beings based on the morphological characters or even the inner character, classifying them and then naming each one. Now we have the most important thing here is what is called binomial nomenclature. Here you can see bi means two, nomial is name, naming them. So when you name the living beings with two names now, see, we all have seen lots of animals and plants. Of course we know the names. In what language do we know? Either in our own mother tongue or in our other Indian languages, or it may be English. But there are many countries which may not speak English or which may not speak our own languages. So how to make the language of the names identifiable or easily understood by the others also? So that there is a naming system, and that naming system we have what is called, we take species and the genus as the basis for giving the names now. Now let us go for this biological classification or the hierarchy of biological classification. You can see that now we have the first is the kingdom. What is kingdom now? Before going to this now, I'll have to explain this now. Kingdom, you have two kingdoms now. Animal kingdom, plant kingdom according to Linnaeus, but again we have, according to Whittaker, we have 5 kingdoms now. Monera, Protista, fungi, animals, plants. Now, when we go down, now suppose we take only the animal kingdom. Suppose you take man. Here we have man belongs to the animal kingdom only. He cannot be classified as a plant now. So we have all the animals in kingdom. It's a huge group. But we have made in the taxonomy there are hierarchy or levels of classification which sees to that those animals which show more differences, even though they belong to the same kingdom, they are all grouped in one now, that is kingdom. Second comes the phylum. In this, suppose you take, in phylum we have what is called the animals with a notochord, animals without notochord. You know the backbone that we have, the bone structure. So there are so many animals with the vertebral column or the notochord, and animals without notochord are the non-chordates. Chordates and non-chordates. To which can we take human beings now? It can be chordata, vertebrates. Then comes the, suppose take the class now. Now we have distinguished now. Now we come down. As we come down, the group becomes smaller. Now suppose you take class now. Now all the living beings, all the animals with backbone also, there are a lot of differences. Suppose you take the snake or frog, or you take birds, they all have backbones, but still there is a lot of difference among them. What is the difference? The major difference is there are the animals which feed their young ones with milk, the mammary glands are present. So we call as mammalia, class mammalia, where we classify the animals which have the mammary gland, and there comes again a smaller group now which have resemblances now. Now which group can feed the young ones with milk now? Yes, cows are there, dogs are there, man is also there. So we find class mammalia. Next comes the order. Now even though there are so many animals which belong to the same mammalian group, there is again some difference. What are the difference? Some are meat eating, we call them carnivorous, and some are vegetable feeders, and that is called the order now. Now again you find the group becoming smaller and smaller now. Then we come to the family now. There are certain distinguishing characteristics where the animals belong to this family now. And when we come to genus, and then when we come again to the species, the animal group becomes smaller, smaller, and smallest group is the species. What are these species now? Species are the groups which are they are able to interbreed among themselves. They are able to interbreed among themselves. They are called the species. So the difference that you find from here to here is now, suppose you take from species now, the difference starts becoming more. Species to genus, genus to family, family to order, order to class, class to phylum, then finally kingdom. As we go higher up, the differences become more and more, and the bigger group. Now suppose you come down, the similarities will increase. So this same thing now, again I was talking about the binomial nomenclature now. So binomial nomenclature is now after the animal or a plant is classified, what do? We have to give names. What are the names now? Like I said, we cannot give our own language names, so it has to be a Latin name which is written in italics, and for this genus is taken, Now, genus is taken and species is taken. Suppose I want to give the name of man in taxonomy is Homo sapiens. So this is the binomial nomenclature of man. Suppose I want to give a name for mango plant now. It is Mangifera indica. So we'll learn about that later. Now let us see, this naming will help us. Now see, the first letter should be in capital. So this shows that man has, or he belongs to the genus Homo, where even the monkeys, the gibbons, the apes and all are there. But when it comes to the species, only man is there. He may be a Negroid, or he may be a European or anybody, but man, the category belongs to sapiens now. So this is binomial nomenclature given to man. Similarly, same thing is done with all the other living beings also. So now we have completed all these things now. So the classification started with cellular organization. What is a cell type? Whether it has a cell wall or no cell wall. Whether it has the nuclear membrane or no nuclear membrane. Whether there is an organization in the body structure or not. And also whether it has the kind of nutrition. We have segregated all these diverse living beings. Now taxonomical categories, we have the hierarchy which you are supposed to remember this now. Either you can give the names, you can keep the some kind of a K is for maybe your favorite cricketer, Kohli, and then P, it can be place. C, cricketer, Kohli plays cricket on flat ground. See, now what happens? It's easy for you to remember, because it has to come in a proper hierarchy. You cannot write species and then write genus, or we write family like that. It has to come in order. You can have your own. Now let me see how many of you can allot some kind of a wording for this, so that it makes a complete sentence. The first letter being K, P, C, O, F, G and S. That will be very easy for you. Let me see in the next class who will do this now. Good? Okay. So now we have done with the binomial nomenclature. You are supposed to learn what is binomial nomenclature, what is taken into consideration. Binomial nomenclature takes only genus and species. So we find this is how the entire living world was classified